AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her controlling fiancé and her family's behavior. I, 29F, have always been close to my sister, 32F, though our relationship has been strained recently due to her engagement and upcoming wedding. I'm posting here because I'm questioning whether I'm being unreasonable or if I have legitimate reasons for feeling the way I do. Background: my sister and I grew up in a loving but somewhat traditional family. We both moved out early and have very different lifestyles now. I live in a big city, work in tech, and have a fairly progressive outlook. My sister married young, had a very different social circle, and is now engaged to a guy, Jake, 35M, who I find extremely controlling and manipulative. Here's where things started to go downhill. My sister met Jake about 2 years ago. From the beginning, Jake seemed charming, but as I got to know him, I realized he was someone who likes to control everything around him. He doesn't take criticism well, makes most decisions without consulting my sister, and has a huge ego. The problem isn't just him. It's how my sister has changed since meeting him. She's become distant, overly concerned with appearances, and extremely defensive if anyone says anything remotely negative about Jake. Fast forward to the wedding planning. My sister and Jake decided to have a relatively small wedding, about 50 guests, mostly family and close friends. However, Jake insisted that his family have a lot of say in the planning, even though his family and I barely know each other. His parents are very traditional and, frankly, judgmental people. They have already criticized everything from the venue, too modern, to the food, not traditional enough, and even the music. My sister is bent over backward to appease them. It's been heartbreaking to watch her lose her voice in the process. I was excited to be part of her wedding initially and offered to help with invitations and decorations. But as planning progressed, I started noticing Jake's controlling nature creep into every detail. He demanded I not invite certain mutual friends he didn't like, even though they're close to my sister and me. When I tried to talk to my sister about it, she brushed it off, saying Jake knows what's best. The biggest blow came when Jake and his family started dictating the guest list for my side of the family. My parents and I were told we could only bring 1 + 1 each, which meant none of my closest friends or my boyfriend could attend. This was incredibly hurtful because weddings are usually celebrations with people who matter, and excluding my closest support system felt wrong. When I brought this up with my sister, she said she didn't want drama and that Jake's family is paying for half the wedding, so their opinions matter more. Over time, it became clear that my sister's wedding was more about Jake's family's preferences and less about her happiness or ours. I tried to set boundaries, but Jake would find ways to override them, often with my sister's passive consent. A few weeks ago, my sister sent me the final invitation. Along with it, a note from Jake's mother that was basically a thinly veiled demand that I don't bring my boyfriend because he's not appropriate. There was no explanation beyond that, and it felt like an insult. I told my sister that I was uncomfortable and that unless things changed, I might not come to the wedding. She got defensive, accusing me of causing trouble and trying to ruin her special day. This argument escalated quickly, and my sister basically gave me an ultimatum: accept Jake's family's rules or don't come at all. Feeling angry and hurt, I told her I wouldn't attend if the situation stayed the same. Since then, our communication has been minimal. My parents are upset with me for not attending, saying I'm being stubborn and selfish. Some mutual friends are on my side. Others think I should just bite the bullet and go for the sake of family harmony. I understand weddings can be stressful and that compromises are often necessary. But this doesn't feel like a compromise. It feels like my sister and I are on different teams, and Jake and his family have taken over everything. So Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's controlling behavior and the way his family is treating me and my loved ones? Should I just suck it up and go, or am I justified in standing my ground? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior? This story is going to be long, but I think it's important to provide enough context. I, 29F, have always been close with my family, especially my younger sister, Emily, 26F. We grew up in a tight-knit household, and despite the usual sibling squabbles, we've supported each other through almost everything. Recently, though, something has happened that's causing a huge rift between us, and I'm unsure if I'm being unreasonable. About 6 months ago, Emily started dating this guy named Jake. From the beginning, I was wary of him, mostly because of how he acted around my family. He's charming and outgoing, but something fell off. At first, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because I wanted to support my sister's happiness. Emily has been through a lot. She's had a couple of serious relationships that ended badly, so I was genuinely hoping Jake would be different. However, as their relationship progressed, I started noticing more red flags. Jake has a habit of making passive-aggressive comments about my family. For example, when we had a family dinner, he joked about how boring and outdated our family traditions were. He also criticized my parents' parenting style, which didn't sit well with me. When I spoke up about it, he brushed it off, saying he was just being honest and that we were too sensitive. The biggest issue, though, happened about 2 months ago. Emily invited me over for dinner with Jake, and when I arrived, Jake was drinking excessively. He made several rude remarks to me throughout the evening, including mocking my career choices and telling me I was too uptight because I don't drink or party much. Emily laughed it off, but I was uncomfortable and left earlier than I wanted. After that night, I expressed my concerns to Emily privately. I told her I felt disrespected and that Jake's behavior was not something I could ignore, especially since he was now a significant part of her life. Emily got defensive and accused me of being judgmental and trying to sabotage her relationship. I tried to explain that I was only concerned because I care about her and wanted her to be treated well, but she didn't want to hear it. Fast forward to last week, Emily called me to say that she and Jake were engaged and that the wedding was going to be in 6 months. She said she was excited to have me there, but also dropped a bombshell. I wasn't allowed to bring my boyfriend, Mark, because Jake didn't like him. Emily said it was a hard boundary Jake set, and she wanted me to respect it. I was shocked. Mark has never done anything to anyone in the family. He's polite and has always gotten along well with Emily and our parents. When I confronted Emily about it, she said Jake felt threatened by Mark because they work in similar fields, and Jake was worried about competition. I told her that was ridiculous and unfair to me and Mark, and it felt like a massive red flag about how controlling Jake might be. Emily then said if I didn't come without Mark, she might not invite me at all. I felt trapped. I told her I wouldn't attend a wedding where I couldn't bring my partner, especially since it was Jake's unreasonable demand. I also told her that I wasn't comfortable supporting a marriage that seemed to be built on such controlling and toxic behavior. Since then, Emily has been furious with me. She's told other family members that I'm being selfish and trying to ruin her happiness. Some family members agree with her, saying I should just put my foot down and be there for my sister, while others privately tell me they understand my concerns but don't want to get involved. I don't want to lose my sister, but I also can't ignore how Jake has treated me and the way he's trying to dictate who I can bring to the wedding. I'm worried that if I go, I'm enabling a toxic dynamic, but if I don't, I risk alienating Emily permanently. So, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior and his demand that I don't bring my boyfriend? AITA for refusing to help my sister with her wedding after she completely disregarded my feelings and put me through a humiliating ordeal in front of our entire family? My sister, Sarah, and I have had a complicated relationship for years. We were close as kids, but as we grew older, our personalities and life choices began to diverge sharply. Sarah is very outgoing, popular, and always seemed to be the center of attention. I've always been more introverted, preferring smaller social circles and quieter environments. Despite this, I was happy to be supportive when Sarah got engaged last year. I wanted to help her have the wedding she dreamed of, even if it wasn't exactly my style. Sarah's fiancé, Jason, is a great guy, and I thought their relationship was solid. When she started planning the wedding, I told her I wanted to be involved in any way I could. I even offered to help with some of the decorations and logistics because I have experience organizing events. She agreed, and I was excited to contribute. However, things started to unravel about 2 months before the wedding. Sarah invited me to a family meeting to discuss the seating arrangement and the rehearsal dinner. I showed up on time, ready to participate. When I arrived, I noticed that Sarah had invited a lot of distant relatives I barely knew, and the seating chart seemed chaotic. During the meeting, Sarah made a joke about me being the quiet one who never speaks up, implying that I wouldn't be helpful with the wedding plans. I tried to shrug it off, but she then loudly said, "Honestly, I don't know why I even asked for your help. You're always so awkward and uncomfortable around everyone. Maybe you should just stay out of it." The entire room went silent. I was stunned and hurt, especially since this was my own family. I tried to respond calmly, saying I was only trying to be helpful and that I wanted the day to be perfect for her. Sarah snapped back, "Well, maybe perfect doesn't include you being involved." After that meeting, Sarah stopped including me in any wedding planning. She wouldn't respond to my messages or calls, and I was left out of everything. I felt humiliated and excluded, but I still hoped she would come around. 2 weeks before the wedding, Sarah asked me to be a bridesmaid. I was shocked considering everything that had happened, but I accepted. I thought maybe she wanted to mend things, and that this was a sign she valued my presence. At the rehearsal dinner, however, Sarah made a series of public jabs at me. She mentioned how she couldn't believe I was still willing to stand by her side after everything. Then she proceeded to tell an embarrassing story from our childhood, about a time I had cried because I was scared of a costume at a Halloween party. The story was exaggerated and made me look childish in front of her fiancé's family and many other guests. I was mortified. I excused myself and left the dinner early. The next day, I sent Sarah a message saying that I couldn't be part of the wedding anymore if she was going to treat me like this publicly and behind my back. Sarah called me the next day, furious, accusing me of ruining her wedding and being selfish. She said I was making her look bad and that I was overreacting to a harmless joke. She also said that I was too sensitive and needed to grow up. I stood my ground and told her I wouldn't be involved in any part of the wedding or the celebration. I didn't want to be part of a day where I was disrespected and humiliated by my own sister. Now, the family is divided. Some say Sarah was just joking and I'm being too sensitive, while others think Sarah was unnecessarily cruel. My parents think I should forgive and forget for the sake of family harmony, but I don't want to pretend everything is fine when it's not. I'm staying firm on my decision to skip the wedding and have limited contact with Sarah for now. I don't want to be involved in something where I'm treated like a joke. AITA for refusing to help and be part of my sister's wedding after she publicly humiliated me and disregarded my feelings?